Okay, so I've decided I'm going to do something that I'm very passionate about. And in my case, one of them things will be mental illness. Now, I'm going to talk about mental illness because I know a lot of people who are affected by it. And even if you don't think you know someone who's affected by it, the chances are that you do, because 1 in 4 people around you will actually suffer from mental illness. And there are many different types, but seeing as though it is Depression Week, I'm going to focus on depression. Right, so I'm just going to tell you a bit about depression. We all sit there and we all judge it as someone just feeling down. Someone who just feels sad, when in actual reality, depression is a lot more than that. Depression is something that weighs heavy on your life. It makes you feel vulnerable, it makes you feel weak, and it makes you feel like, compared to everyone else, you're nothing. It gives you exhaustion. People struggle to wake up. They struggle to sleep with the opposite thing, because everything plays in the mind. You can feel sick, you can have weight gain. Sometimes you can even hear voices, sometimes you talk yourself into things that you wouldn't. You can feel things that you've never felt before, and it is hard to explain unless you experience it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's Depression Week for a reason. It's not because, we want to celebrate having depression, but it's because we need you, the public, to open their eyes to something such as this. Because we as a society judge people each day and we attach a stigma. We attach a stigma to people with depression as the people who attention seek. The people who are mentally weaker than others because they can't deal with things in life, when no, that's not the truth. People with depression are some of the strongest people I know. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain which doesn't allow them to feel emotions in a way that is observed as natural. It can send them out of control for happiness to sadness, and it is like you're a parachute jumper. Once you start falling, you can't get back up. And now, depending on the type of depression they have, will depend on how they feel. So, I don't want you to judge them as someone who is always morbid, they're always feeling down. But I want you to think of them as someone who is just like yourself. They're just going through something that you've never experienced, so you can't actually comment on it in a way that we can relate to it. I don't want you to sit there and judge someone and say, oh, she's depressed, she's got depression. But I want you to be able to take in the fact that people around you do live with it. I don't want you to be scared by it and veer away from it, but I want you to embrace that we're in a nation that is consumed by things such as this because of life events, or maybe it's just possibly that someone has gone through a hard time, or they can't deal or come to terms with something. We don't choose to have this illness, we just get it. We get this mental disorder not because we are weak, but because we are basically just a human. And any human can get a mental disorder at any time. And maybe some of you are lucky enough not to experience one, but this does not mean that you should judge someone who does. It just means that at this moment in time, you are going through a happy patch. You are going through a time in your life where you don't feel what someone else does. So stop judging someone who may come in and they may admit they've got depression, and you may start saying, oh, they're attention seeking, because you don't know the truth. If you need to read more about depression to understand it, then the perfect way to do this is to go into a mental health website or to visit the NHS website. Because there's more to depression than feeling low. And if you think they're attention seekers, then research it and you will actually find out its impacts. So instead of judging mental illness, maybe pay a bit more attention to it. Thank you.